Hello fellow tacticians. Glad I waited a little bit to make this video because now I get to kill two birds with one stone. We have the roadmap plus the state of the game update video, so let's jump right on into it, starting with the roadmap. Before we begin, I want to do a fair warning and let everybody know that this video, just like the last, will be unscripted. I want it to feel genuine. Want to remove all that artificial mechanical feeling that comes with, updates like this or things that might get a little, heated, divisive in nature. I don't want a canned political statement, right? But I do want to kind of foot stomp some of the things that led me to create the last video and also making me create this one now. Let me start off by saying I don't think the game is dead. And I don't think the game is at a point where irreversible damage has been done. The people that quit were so in their own category, or in my category rather, that a lot of the problems that I mentioned or brought up were isolated. Now, I don't feel that my criticisms were without merit for the entire community as a whole. I feel that there are still a lot of pain points that even, this update video do not address, and I will reiterate them because personally, if I don't see change in some of these regards, I won't be happy. And there's a lot of different pain points and different opinions that I've seen that I really want to highlight and kind of talk about why certain things aren't feasible in certain timelines. And while, yes, some of the onus needs to be on the developers to push things in the right direction, there also needs to be a little bit of onus on the community and what we can do to make their lives easier, not in the sense that we can guide them in game development or feedback or anything like that, but more so that we need to take a little bit of unfair pressure off so we can apply fair pressure. And I'll talk about what I mean by fair and unfair pressure later. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go through the roadmap because that addresses one of the big pain points that we've talked about in the past, and we'll also talk about a culmination of other pain points. Now, I had a kind of like a general layout like I did in the last video where I had points 1 through 4, and this one I had like points 1 through 7, but a lot of these are going to kind of be scrambled up because of the roadmap. But let's go ahead and just start reading it and see where we get. As a reminder, the 4 pain points I listed in my video and kind of really highlighted everything on were character releases, content drought, we had over-monetization. It's more so of the over-monetization perception than actual reality. And then also the last one was lack of insight. And lack of insight was specifically that players had no idea what the hell was happening until patch day. And sometimes not even entirely on patch day. You had to wait for the patch notes that came after patch release. Now, this roadmap has the potential to completely eliminate number 4. And the reason I say has the potential and doesn't entirely solve it is because now the ball is entirely in, the Snowprint team's court. They have made a major stride in solving that issue, but this roadmap needs to be a living, breathing document. There's going to be challenges with that, not from just the Snowprint angle, but from our angle as well, and I'll discuss that. But let's read it. A short roadmap. The next 6 months, more or less. Greeting tacticians. Roadmap posts are a real challenge for game developers, because so much can change from design to delivery. Things might prove more difficult than anticipated, playtesting can reveal flaws, unforeseen interactions can pop up, and more. Once we've published a roadmap, we've made a promise to you that we must keep. Now, here's the problem already, and why there has been a lot of reluctance to do this in the past. It's because by posting this, they feel that they've made a promise, and they have to keep that promise, otherwise bad things happen. Now, as a community, this is where it really falls on us, and kind of us just being shitty and whiny, right? It leads to videos that I've made in the past. Well, why aren't they doing this? We're not getting what we want, blah, 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 blah. People don't understand or have understanding for when delays happen, they're probably with a good reason. And even if it's not a good reason, if you just force them to release something before it's ready, you're gonna get a shit product. And I personally would rather wait a month for a polished product than a shiny turd, in my personal opinion. And I think that that's something that we've seen constantly throughout, not just mobile gaming or with Snowprint. We've seen it consistently in the gaming industry as a whole recently with, certain publishers pushing games before they're ready, and then you get games like Cyberpunk. So we need to be a little bit more patient in understanding when certain delays happen. Look at Arimon, right? And the Thousand Suns campaign. That got delayed because Games Workshop pushed back and delayed it. Snowprint says they have no control over that, and I believe them. They want to make sure that they get the IP right and they do justice to it, and honestly, I was fine with that. They communicated, hey, we have a delay, hey, it's for this reason, we're expecting to get it out here. That stopping point is fluid, it might move. I was understanding, but the vast amount of you that just absolutely shit on the developers in Discord for that, it's why stuff like this takes so long and it's such a battle. Like, y'all need to do better at being a little bit more understanding. If they're communicating and saying, hey, this is what's going on, and they're being genuine with you, that's not the time to throw a fucking fit. That's the time to go, okay, cool, thank you for letting me know. I'm a little upset, yes, that I'm not getting it right now, but I understand mommy and daddy don't have money for Christmas. I can wait till January to get my Christmas presents. Like, that is essentially what is happening, right? At the same time, our ambassadors have been telling us they think that we need to share the things we have in progress now. So let's take a chance together. Check out these upcoming things, all of which are in active development, and bear in mind that we will not launch any of them until we feel they are playable, fun, and true to the spirit of Warhammer 40k. Oh, and for this post, we're not counting expansions to existing game modes, so just mentally assume there are also regular things like campaign levels, etc. Beautiful. Fantastic. Exactly what they should be doing. Hey, look, if it's not good, we will delay it, and that's what they should do. Now, communicating that delay is what also should happen, right? And a big shout out to certain developers. If they want their names mentioned, I'll mention them later. Or ambassadors, that have pushed for things like this to happen. I don't think this roadmap was a direct result of my video, because honestly, videos like that put them in a very hard spot. If they do directly react to something like that, then that's going to incentivize more people to just whine and bitch. And that's not something that we want to happen in the community, period. I honestly feel a little bad at some points for making the video that I made because, it puts them in a rough spot. The things that they were doing that were good that we just didn't know about now have a little bit of a black stain on them. I don't think that my criticisms were unjust in some regards. Maybe some of them were premature if things like this were already in the works, but hey, it's just the nature of the beast. Before the new year, we can expect a winter holiday event, a new faction reveal, and the Black Templar rework. These things are in testing right now, so we're confident that they're going to happen, but if testing reveals any problems, we'll delay their release. We're very excited for the new faction, and we'll be revealing it to the world in the second half of this month. The first of the new characters will be introduced in December. No teasers, except to say we're confident you'll like this not Xenos faction because our surveys say so. Black Templar rework, we're making these guys a little bit more interesting and a little more useful. All the details will be posted after we complete the playtesting. Going forward, we will periodically give our older factions a fresh look based on feedback and metrics to keep them relevant as the game evolves. Beautiful. Now, I had a few discussions with some people regarding this, and I can't say this one is too terribly surprising because we still haven't got the Octarius Mirror Elite campaign, and we saw this, the Necrons. Wow, I was going to say Xenos for some reason. We saw the Necrons updated when their Elite campaign came out. It wasn't anything too groundbreaking. I have seen what's coming for these, and I'm actually pretty excited for the Black Templars. But, one of the big questions that I had as soon as I saw, okay, Black Templars are getting a rework, fantastic. It's because their campaign's not out, right? What about orcs? Well, I think that last comment addresses that and says, hey, look, we're still looking at other things, right? And we're looking to update older characters that might have fallen off. Now, once again, going back on my soapbox and talking about the timelines for that, and also kind of expectations, right? And tempering expectations. I know we all want to see certain characters reworked. Nandi would be really upset if I didn't say, hey, please buff Shadow Sun. So, Nandi, there you go. Please buff Shadow Sun, Snowprint. But let's talk about expectations for that and intent, right? And we'll talk about Darkstrider. My favorite example for this. Darkstrider released, and he felt really fucking bad. Being honest. Really bad. Like, he was not usable in guild raids. His PvP potential was meh. You can't use him in campaign. Like, what am I doing with this character? He doesn't even really break anything in the positive way for legendary release events. So everybody and their mother had great ideas on how to make this character better. Give him more hits, increase his movement, increase his range, increase this, move that, and change this, increase his base damage, right? Fair. But with one minor fix, Snowprint turned that character into complete deadweight trash, into one of the more viable guild raid characters in the game. Just by changing bosses not being immune to marker light. That was it. And then everything changed on that. So, I know we always say, hey, we want this, we want this, we want this, we want this. And this is a problem that permeates throughout the entire landscape, right? Is we all have these good ideas, but the actual implementation might actually blow up in our face and not actually be what we truly want sometimes. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't push for change. We shouldn't push for things that we want, right? But realize that, we can create a laundry list that becomes insurmountable. And then we end up not getting the things that we want. And I'm seeing this with a lot of the discussion posts and the coalition that was formed to push for game change is, we're sitting here talking about major fundamental things that we want fixed with the game. And somebody is like, yeah, but like, I should be able to see who uses a bomb in the raid. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. You should be able to see who has an active bomb in your guild raid tab, sure. But dude, problems here and problems there need to be addressed at different varying levels, and pushing for everything means we get nothing. So dial back on that. Like, let's knock out the big things first. And I'm also working on something for that, where I kind of do like a rolling feedback form to say, hey, look, this is my community's biggest pain points at the moment. Can we look at prioritizing these? Because, anybody that's done any sort of work in engineering or development knows that there's a rack and stack list, right? And if you have all these problems, you need to set their priority matrix, and then you need to address them. And then kind of going back to another point that they made in this little section right here is, we got to make sure that the characters not only feel good or that the game modes feel good, need to make sure they don't break the fucking game for everybody. I know people playing on older phones using Vindicta would use a flamethrower and they would literally overheat their phone. So, just because you're playing on, a Samsung S5 or Samsung Galaxy 23, I forget whatever the hell the phone names are now, doesn't mean everybody else is. Right? Or, what works on Android might not work on iPhone. So, there's a lot of problems that we're not considering. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not, shilling for Snowprint. My criticisms are going to be just as bloody as my praises, so. Early 2024. New Imperial Guild Boss. Player Profile Customization. More about the new boss to come from your favorite creators and ambassadors when the time comes. I have no idea what to expect right now. The player profile is a first step into customizing your experience in Tacticus, allowing you to share what's most important to you. We're adding themes for you to choose from, more things to display, titles, and more. So this is cool. I still think that my hesitations are really in place for this when it comes down to the reward pattern, that if this guild boss is just difficulty and ramping without any sort of reward for it, it's going to feel very lackluster. I still think my criticisms are fair for the Screamer Killer being very one-dimensional and not really incentivizing unique gameplay. It turned into a traditional spank and tank fight, which I felt really missed the mark from developer intent, or at least what was advertised intent, rather. Now, I would love to see if this character drops some, unique shards or something like that. That would be awesome. And doubling back on the previous conversation, I'm still concerned about a new faction coming out. While I'm excited, I'm concerned about it because we still can't farm the other 5 factions in the game. When I started, there was 1 faction, plus Morvenval, that you could not obtain anywhere. Now we have 5. So when I started, it was Death Guard, Morvenval. Now, it's Death Guard, Tau, Morvenval, Yarick, Isabella. We also have Tyranids. I'm missing... Oh, Space Wolves and Dark Angels. All of which have no home in the game, minus Neil. So, hopefully that gets fixed. 2024, Guild Wars. And a new game mechanism. We started to work on big things, but it's very early days for them, and we're not ready to discuss in full at this time. There's a lot of testing and iteration yet to go. We'll go into more detail about these exciting upgrades to Tacticus after playtesting begins in earnest, and that's all we can say for now. We've been heading at Guild Wars for a while, and we're at the point now where we can at least see it coming. Players of other Snowprint games know that the biggest challenge is getting the matchmaking system in good order. We're also still working out the final design on this enormous new feature. This is so big that it will take a lot more work and a significant amount of testing before it's ready to go live, but we look forward to bringing you this exciting new way to play Tacticus. New game mechanism. Our energy is going to Guild Wars right now, but Rumbling to Life is a new feature that will shake up gameplay in 2024. We're promising a teaser after the new year begins. So stay tuned, Tacticians. We promise the game will continue to grow and evolve, so keep your eyes on the skies. Awesome. Guild Wars. That makes me feel a lot better about the amount of PvP characters that we've been getting lately. And it explains a little bit, and now instead of just whinging, saying, I don't need this character, I have no way to use it, and be like, oh, okay, cool, I see where I could probably use this in the future. In the not coming soon future, but now we have kind of a rough date. Now, hopefully I'm not overstepping here and saying that I know that this game mode was supposed to be released earlier, and delays happen. And a concern point is that if they set themselves to a date, then everybody blows up, Google reviews go to hell, and if Google reviews go to hell, the game literally dies. So, hopefully, delays don't happen, and if they do, they're communicated well, and if they are communicated well, then you all need to not be petulant and hang tight and just ride the wave. That's all I can really say on that. Now, Guild Wars has the potential to be amazing, and it also has the potential to blow up. And I can understand where delays might come into play here. There is no way that Guild Wars can be a live feature. It's not going to be like Tournament Arena where you're playing against somebody directly. You just can't do that. The coordination for the guilds alone on just like boss adjutant bosses is an absolute fucking nightmare. I couldn't imagine coordinating something like Guild Wars. So, now you need to have an offline PvP service, like Arena, for these game modes. And that could start running you into issues when it comes to AI, certain things crashing, people abusing things like RJack at the moment in its current state because RJack's breaking the game, to really mess things up. So I can understand why this is taking so long, and I could understand delays. Say, hey guys, look, we want to come out with this week. But the problem is, Ravos literally breaks the game mode because we can't get Calandus to stop running into Ravos. We're trying to fix out that AI issue. And anytime that issue pops up, now we need to take more development time away from other developers and say, hey, you know, we're going to have to put this on a back burner because of this, that, and the other thing. It's a process. And while, yes, we are paying money, while, yes, it is live development, yes, we have expectations and we need to make sure that they're being met to a certain degree, keep them realistic. That's all I'm going to say, right? And I could see this game mode going great. I can see it offering more rewards into the game, and I'd be excited. I still really want to foot stomp that rewards are one of the biggest pain points for me in this game. That and the content that we've been getting hasn't really felt unique in the sense that it's changing up the reward landscape. So let's kind of go through some of the points that I have, right? I talked about the opener. I talked about the roadmap. And mind you, I really want to reiterate again, I'm still a content creator with Snowprint. Like, we're still, buddy, right? They might be a little disappointed, mom and dad, that, I made the video instead of going to them, but I feel there were reasons why I did that. And they also expressed to me, hey, dude, you can have negative opinions. Like, we're not going to shit can you for this. We've never shit canned anybody. The rumors that somebody was fired for having a negative opinion on the game, according to the official statement, are completely untrue and have no merit. So I'm still with the team. We're having great conversations. There's things to be excited about. There are differences of opinions, 100%. There are differences of opinions. I have, a stance on one thing, and they say, hey, that's not a direction we want to go. And that's fair. If I have an opinion and they have a differing opinion, it's their game at the end of the day. And if I want to go create my own Warhammer game, I need to go get a couple $1 million and say, fine, fuck you, I'm doing it my way, right? But then, that puts all of the burdens and troubles on me, and, maybe it would just absolutely flop in the water. This game is growing. This game has a lot of potential. This game has a good core spirit. It's just missing the mark recently, and, those criticisms weren't taken in a defensive nature. They didn't, blow up on me, so I really want to kind of disillusion anybody with the whole, like, they don't care, and they're just going to fire anybody bury anybody that has a differing opinion. That's not true. Content updates, We know that we're getting some new stuff coming in, so like that really fully addresses that one. Now I think that the spirit of some of these content updates needs a little love. I still double down on my point that Mortarion needs to give us Death Guard shards, right? Or Death Guard currency that we can buy Death Guard characters. That would fix one of the huge issues that we have right now, but then that also adds in, they have to add a shop, they have to add the currency, the art team needs to do that, and then a whole bunch of layers, and then hopefully it doesn't brick the game. So, yada yada yada, same points that I've been making this whole video. Old character attention. Boom, it's coming. We know that Black Templars are getting reworked. I know that a lot of people want orcs to be reworked. However, it's one of those things that we'll take a backseat to other things first, right? Let's say that there's a game-breaking bug like Arjack that needs to take priority of the orcs getting updated. Character availability is something that I really wanted to foot stomp, and I still think is a growing issue, and I hope that something happens to prevent it from growing to the point where it just becomes completely irreversible and unsustainable and just feels bad. Like, if I join the game right now and I go, oh, there's 5 factions that I just straight up can't get because I didn't play before, that's not fear of missing out. That's you've missed out and now you're just fucked. So hopefully that comes in and is a little bit better. There's a lot to be excited about, but there's also still a lot to be worried about, if I'm being honest. And the biggest thing for me is the reward pattern. I'll say it again and again and again. It permeates everything. Arena rewards, right? How many people in their Chapter Master League that just finished it got, 8 epic chaos badges that they can't use? Yep. Happened to me. And then, who's tired of getting Snappereka shards? Right? I don't give a shit. Onslaught rewards are getting a little bit better with the crates. We have seen that get a little bit better. The daily login calendar still feels a little bland. But my biggest thing is two, maybe 3 things, right? 3. 1, experience. I don't get experience for playing the game, and it feels really fucking bad. I have to put... my character's not going out there and getting work experience. He's going to the library for his college degree. That's how he learns how to be a better, unit. He has to read a lot of books. Killing enemies? Nah, nothing. Read a book? Boom, you know what you're doing, bro. Like, anybody that knows anything knows that that's not how the world works, so please, 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 Let my characters get more experience for doing things in the game. It doesn't need to be amazing. It can synergize well when the only day that it feels good is Sunday with double experience, but right now Sunday doesn't even feel good. So, please, fix experience. Let's talk about guild raids, for example, and we've already beat that horse enough. I'm not going to talk about it more, but I want each boss that comes into the game to feel exciting to me and offer new rewards, right? Like a currency from Screamer Killer that lets me buy Tyranids. A currency from Mortaria that lets me buy Death Guard. That would feel so good. So, that's it. With new, I guess, goalposts being put into the sand, and from two angles, right? We also have the ceiling increasing with Diamond 2, Diamond 3. Diamond 3 being I don't know when. But we also have new characters coming out that I now need to take them to the level of my other characters to be able to be viable. Increase drop rates. Rework the reward systems. That's it. That's all I'll say. Like, those two things right there would be absolutely amazing. An arena shop. Right? I've talked about this, and something that would be awesome. Instead of giving me Snap-a-Rekka shards or something like that, give me a currency to go spend in an arena store. Put some of the characters that are currently not obtainable in the game in there. Make an Onslaught store. I don't give a shit. Make different little stores that each game mode gives a different currency. A salvage run store. Holy shit, might make that game mode feel rewarding. Maybe. So, different things like that I think would go a long way. Now, I know that this video is a lot more positive than my previous video. That's not because, anybody asked me to. It's not because, I'm shilling for Snowprint, right? I genuinely believe that some of the directions that we're heading are in the positive direction. I see a lot of great conversation coming from a lot of people. And, it shows how freaking passionate this community is when there is literally now a Discord dedicated to a coalition for game improvement. The game's not dead. There's a lot of people that care a lot about this game, myself included. I love this fucking game. And the reason I bitch isn't because I think it's dying and I think it's dead and I'm ready to leave. It's because I don't want to leave. I want improvement to happen. And that's a testament to how good this game has the potential to be. So with that being said, we talked a lot about what's on the horizon, some things that they, I really think they need to buckle down on, some things that I think they're doing well, and also understanding their pain points a little bit. And I think that, just us having a complete lack of understanding creates an atmosphere where they don't trust being able to tell us things and it not blow up in their face. And that's a problem. It's a two-way street. Yes, the developers have an obligation to provide you a good game if you're paying money. Sure, 100%. But also at the same time, don't create an environment where they feel that they can't do certain things for the community because they're worried that you're going to be petulant little shits. That all of us are going to be petulant little shits. Have a little bit of understanding. Now, I personally have expressed to the community at what point I would quit. And I'll say it because I don't think I captured it in a video. But if Diamond 3 gets released, and the new boss gets released, and it's status quo, everything feels the same in terms of reward and character progression, then I think I'll be done. Now, I see a lot of sentiments in comments that say, hey man, you're just super endgame, you've optimized the fun out of the game. That's why you feel this way. I disagree. I think that there should be moving benchmarks for endgame players to aspire to. Screamer Killer should, maybe have felt like something that endgame players could get excited about. I think looping the boss patterns into kind of just replacing another boss, especially if the difficulty is higher, it should be a stacking kind of goalpost instead of a cycling goalpost. In that regard, and I mean that you should be able to create endgame content without also hurting your non-endgame players. And I feel like that's kind of how Guild Raids is right now. My concerns primarily for a lot of things are for new players or mid-ground players. that literally feel like they can never catch up. Ever. And not just that they can't catch up to me, period, because that's unrealistic, right? That they can't catch up to some players that are currently at the end game. Like, you shouldn't be able to catch up to a player that is 6 months ahead of you. But the fact that you won't be able to catch up to that player at where they are now, like take a freeze frame of where everybody is right now. Does a new player have any chance at meeting that freeze frame within a realistic time window? And the answer is currently no. In World of Warcraft, I think I talked about this in the last video. If the current level cap is 60, right, and they come out with an expansion that increases the level cap to 70, then they reduce the amount of experience needed to reach levels 1 through 60. Makes sense, right? You don't want it to make it feel like this unclimbable mountain that, oh, well, I joined today, like, I can never climb. No. Okay, I joined today, have some sort of catch-up mechanic, right? Or just increase the rewards overall in such a way that it really doesn't damn the new players and super accelerate the endgame players, right? Catch-up mechanics need to exist to get you to that initial 1 to 60, and then make 60 to 70 hard. That's fine. 60 to 70 should be hard. It should be a grind. It should let you experience the game. So, yes, there was my little rant. Video went a little longer than I wanted, but I feel like there was a lot to talk about. I'm still optimistic. Expect videos on the Black Templars coming here soon. And if Black Templars are coming out, I think we can expect that we're going to see Octarius Mirror Elite coming as well. Now, let's, quick pat on Snowprint's shoulder, right? Hey, the pace that you've been coming out with new campaign content has been great. For the elites, at least, right? Now, granted, it hasn't really been new content. Like, it's things that we've expected, but I'm glad we're at least getting that, so thank you. And hopefully the rest of the feedback really hits home, and it's going to be a fight that I'll keep fighting, not for myself, just for myself. It's not completely unselfish, but literally for all of us. And I think that we really need to have our priorities in line when we try to enact change. Otherwise, we push for everything and we get nothing. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the roadmap is a huge step in the right direction. Guild Wars announcement is here. I'm excited about it. I hope it's done right. I know a lot of people have said if we just get more guild credit currency, I'm going to lose my shit, and I agree. It needs to feel unique. And if that means you need to take another month or two to figure it out and get it right, I'm okay with that, as well as the rest of you should be. Look at Cyberpunk when it released, to look at Cyberpunk now. Also, a quick shout out to a content creator that I definitely doesn't need my plug. Timothy Kane is a game developer who's worked on projects like Fallout. He's worked on Outer Worlds and so many other games, and that guy's insight into game development is absolutely amazing. I think anybody that has a complaint with Snowprint as a developer should watch his videos. And the reason is so you can understand development cycles and stuff like that, and understand things a little bit more, and why some things just fucking take time. It's not, giving them, enough slack, right? But, some of it's warranted. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. New videos coming. Xenos tier list happening this month. It's almost ready. Hang tight, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be bringing you more stuff. And as always, thank you all so much for supporting the channel, the views, the comments. It was overwhelming, the amount of reaction that I got to the last video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm aiming to hit 1,000, and essentially what I plan to do with the money that I generate with YouTube is pump it right back into the community with cash giveaways, stuff like that. I'm really excited to start doing some more stuff. So take it easy, and